time you come around. Like, oh my, something died and it just can't be found. Tell me what good would I be to anyone with no boundaries? Trust me when I need to lock it down. I need it.
Hey guys, it's Melanie with Sun Moon Truth Tarot. Okay, yesterday we did, well, today I posted it at midnight. Anyway, it don't matter the day. Time is fluid. Whatever. Whenever you see these videos, that's when you're meant to see them. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. You know the routine. Anyway, last night, I spoke of the dark night of the soul. And I said today is going to be what is the ego and why it is important to kill the ego. I called up my friend and I just got off the phone with Julia, and it was awesome because she was like, we was bouncing off each other all this information and she's asking questions, and I'm like, perfect, because she's like the audience that I speak to. So I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget. So I'm going to be reading off my thing. What I did first was I looked up the definition online of what the ego is. So I can't say this word, psychoanalysis on what the ego is, which makes sense. It's part of the mind that meditates between the conscious and the unconscious. It's responsible for reality testing and a sense of personal identity. All right, ego is fear-based. This is my perception of ego. And correct me if I'm wrong down below, that's okay. But ego is based on fear, okay? It's like we are spirits stuck in a body. And over time, things happen to us and we get hurt. We get hurt by people we care about, by people we've given our love to, and it's like we build up these walls around us, and it's walls of protection because of people being human. They're gonna hurt you. Like, that's just, we're all people, we're all learning, we're humans. We are learning as we go. So ego is fear. It's a person's conditioned way of self-protection that grows, and it feeds on fear and pain. And you know, there's some people whose egos are so big, you're just like, oh, you can't handle them because their egos are so big. But you got to understand, open your heart, open your mind, don't judge them. Try to understand, why do they have such a big ego? What have they been through that they've built this wall around them to protect them? And that's where ego comes from. So it's very important that we kill these egos that we're building on ourselves, because it's blocking us. An ego is a block. It's blocking you from hitting your highest potential in life. It's blocking you from allowing love in. Yes, you have to love with boundaries, blah, 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 da, 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 da. You have to set boundaries to get healthy relationships, and you have to know that. And that's part of the ego that teaches you that. That's part of life that teaches you that. But if you don't learn how to kill the ego, it's okay to use the ego when you need to be protected. But if you don't learn how to kill that ego, you're going to miss out on chances and opportunities. This specific friend that I was talking to, her ego actually got me to break up with a guy, because she told me, he's just telling you what you want to hear, da-da-da-da-da, all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, listening to her instead of listening to me. And this is another thing I spoke of yesterday. It's very important who you let in your energy and what you listen to, because that can fuck you up. That's ego. Ego will fuck you up in life. And Julia, you know you don't mind me talking about this because we just spoke on it and I asked your permission. So it's okay, because if he was meant to stay, he would have stayed. It would have worked out, but it wasn't. And it just helped me close that cycle out quicker. However, we have to kill the ego. The best form of self-love as humans is we are conditioned to believe we have to be strong. We have to be proud. We have to be powerful. This is all wrong. Wrong. We don't have to be strong. It's okay to break. Nobody will tell you that. Nobody will tell you, oh, you're going through something horrible. No, don't cry. Don't do this. You know, nobody will fucking tell you it's okay to cry. It's okay to feel this pain. It's okay to feel anger. I've never heard anybody say it's okay to get angry. But how are you going to handle the anger? It's okay. These are emotions. Emotions are gifts from God because, correct me if I'm wrong, we are spirits trapped in a vessel. When negative energy comes in, we have to have a way to release it. So crying is okay. Getting angry is okay. You just have to have a healthy outlet for the anger. Do something that you can take that anger and put it into. Like me, it's art. Some people, it's music. Some people, it's just taking a walk. Have a healthy outlet for these emotions. Learn how to embrace these emotions, accept these emotions. Love yourself enough to kill the ego, which will tell you, don't feel pain, don't feel anger, don't feel this, don't feel that, don't accept your feelings. Just protect them and stuff them down inside and don't accept them. That's what ego is. So what we are is we are human. We have to be human. We have to accept that we are spirits in a fucking vessel. We're not kings, not queens, not bitches, none of that bullshit. We're not that. What we are is a whole collective, whole bunch of family from the other side that's been sent here to be stuck and trapped inside these bodies. And we have to accept our emotions as they are a gift from God. I already said that. And another thing is we need to accept, this is something else I wrote down. We need to accept that mistakes are just stepping stones to our journey. This is beautiful. As humans, I just downloaded all this from Spirit like 5 minutes ago and wrote it down. As humans, we're all on an individual journey. Luckily, we get to meet special people along the way. These people will teach us. Some of them are going to teach us how to glow. Some of them are going to teach us how to open our gifts, how to know who we are and accept them. They're going to validate things. It's okay to communicate. But some people are going to trigger us. They're going to make us angry. They're going to make us feel shit that we didn't want to feel. They're going to make us see these things. And we call them toxic. We call these people toxic. But are they toxic or are they helping us? Are they a lesson or a blessing? Like, you have to decide that. When you kill the ego, you learn that individually we have to heal. Like, the ego will have us going off to ourselves so that we can heal individually. Like, this is what we're doing. And you'll learn that as you kill the ego, you're going to learn, like, okay, I have to heal. I have to accept these things by myself. I have to understand me inside and out. And I have to overcome these things. And as a whole, we're going to grow. Like, when we all come together and we learn how to kill these egos, and we learn how to, okay, here's what I don't understand in the world. This is what I'm talking about. Just an example. It's okay for people to say they hate shit in society. That's okay. But let somebody say the word I love you and watch how people act. When you say you love something, people are like, and they get scared to death. Scared of love. People say it to me and I'm like, huh? And I do it too. Like, I have an ego. A big motherfucking ego. I've been through a lot of shit and I've built this ego. So I'm still learning. Like, I'm not perfect. I'm still learning, like, how to set boundaries, healthy boundaries, not just egotistical boundaries. I'm learning how to set healthy boundaries to accept things that I want into my life so that I can manifest that. But I'm also learning how to kill the ego at the same time. And these two things, it's like an imbalance, because it's like, I'm confused as fuck. Don't get me wrong. I get confused as fuck, like figuring out the two. What's the difference? What's the balance in between? What's that healthy balance to where I have the ego, but I have, the spiritual side of me. And that's like ego. So it's like, is this egotistical? And I have to ask myself that question. Is this my ego talking, or is this me having a gift of discernment and I need to listen to that? So that's, I guess, how you can explain it. But we do have to accept at the end of the day that everyone is going to have a different way of seeing things. So we kind of have to keep an open mind to this, like a very open mind to this. Other people have had different challenges. Let me read this real quick so I know what the fuck I'm trying to say. It says, so learn to accept everyone without judgment. Be grateful of all challenges and love one another regardless of the pain. And you need to kill the ego. That's how I closed it up. Anyway, with that, it was, when I was downloading it, it made more sense. I wish I would have just raw did this one like I normally do. I just jump on and start speaking. When I write shit down, this is why I don't try to prepare for speeches, because when I prepare for a speech, I'll fuck it up. When I just get on here and talk from the soul and I let spirit come through me, face to face, it's like that's how it works best for me. But where was I at with this? It's important to kill the ego because the ego will fuck you up in life. So it's like you could be in a relationship and everything's going smooth, but then they'll do something that's going to trigger something that's been painful in your past. This is when healing comes into relationships came out. When healing comes into play, it's going to trigger something from a past relationship that you had, and you're going to see, like, recognize something in this healthy person who is actually healthy and they're there for a reason, and then you're going to take it out on them. You're going to take it out on them because they've done something to you that's a red flag from somebody else that's hurt you. And it doesn't even have to be a red flag to what that other person did to you. It's just a red flag or a resemblance of that person and that mirroring off of them. So now you're going to start acting crazy because your fucking ego's getting in the way because they've triggered something in you. That's your problem, though. That's your problem because that's something you didn't take the time to heal. So this is when healing comes into play. Now, all this I'm speaking of this week is stuff that happened to me through the dark night of the soul. So it all comes together. At the end, it's going to come together. When you go through the dark night of the soul, you are thrown into this position of complete darkness where you start questioning every fucking thing you ever learned in life. Right from wrong, what is right, what is wrong. You really go into some deep thoughts within yourself and you start looking like, what the fuck is all this for? I'm just going to die anyway. Then you start to heal and overcome these things, generational curses. You overcome these battles and then you start to understand it all. And as fucked up as it is, and as hard as it is, it just starts to make sense. So for me, with my dark night of the soul, I started on this journey and it was amazing because God sat there and let me have free will to figure this shit out on my own. He didn't control me. He didn't say anything until I learned it on my own. And I went through these things and then he came to me with the answers. Mel, when you gonna trust me? When you gonna give me faith? Don't worry about what people think about you. Just trust the voice inside yourself. So it's like, all right, I surrender. And the union that I think I've been feeling that's happening now after reading the definition of the dark night of the soul, because I didn't look it up. I just knew that's what it was. And then I looked up the definition and it made so much sense. And I'm like, oh, that's why my lessons come from God. It's all come together over the night. But it's like ego will block you in life. That's my point. That's my point. And I'm getting sidetracked. This is why I didn't want to wing it, because I will get all over the place. It'll mess you up in life. And you have to kill it. You have to actually not kill the ego. That's kind of tough to say kill the ego because we all have one. You're not going to kill the ego. You'll never get rid of your ego. You just have to learn how to embrace it is the best way to put it. Embrace it and accept that sometimes you have to take a pause before you react. This is me. I have to do this. I have to learn this. I'm still toxic because I'm not all the way where I need to be, but I'm on my journey. I'm on my way there. I have toxic tendencies too. I fuck people up in life too. I'm not saying that nobody's perfect. I'm just saying until I heal myself completely, I'm not going to be who I should be. And I'm still on my way there. I'm just like everybody else. I'm normal. When it comes to this, I'm on my own path. We're all on our own path. We're all in our own positions. Some of us are faster ahead because they put in more work. Some of us are still behind and still coming in. So the ones that are ahead, instead of looking down on people below you with your ego, help them to get to where you are. Instead of saying, oh, you're toxic, I'm cutting you out of my life. Give them a chance to help them grow. They need you. Think about Jesus when he was walking the earth healing people. As a healer, he had to go after the people that everybody else wouldn't talk to. The whores, the drug addictions, all that shit comes to them. Just listen to that voice inside you. Trust it and then find that balance. Try to acknowledge when your ego is stepping in if it's your ego stepping in to block you, or if it's a boundary. That's the line you have to learn, is which one's a boundary, which one's a trigger. How do I set these healthy boundaries? Like, just look, I'm gonna tell you. For a boundary, it's like somebody does something to trigger you, and this is how you set boundaries. This is what I've learned, personal experience. Okay, what you're doing I don't like. I'm gonna need you to not do that anymore. If they respect you, they care about you, they're gonna listen, then you can keep them in your life. If they're working on it, they're not gonna fix it overnight. But if somebody's willing to work on it, like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize I hurt you like that. Let me work on it. It's gonna take time. Don't expect them to like fix it overnight and never do it again, because it doesn't work like that. But you've set a boundary. You've told them, look, I don't like the way you're talking to me. I'm gonna need you to stop. Now, if they continue to do it and they know it hurts you and they're doing it out of anger, they're toxic. That's not your ego talking. That is you setting a boundary. Now this person needs to go, because you've given them chance after chance after chance. You've told them what you're doing hurts me. They do not give a fuck that they're hurting you. So guess what? They don't get to be in your energy. That's a boundary. Now, ego is when they come in, they do something that triggers something from that person that hurt you intentionally, the one I just spoke of, that you've asked them not to do it, but ego will tell you, oh, this is a red flag. I got to run from this person because they just did the exact same thing that that person did, but it's not even the exact same thing they did. It's just something similar. And now I'm triggered. So my ego is going to protect me. It's going to come up and it's going to stop me from even going any farther with this person. No, everybody deserves a chance. Everybody deserves a fair chance. And this is where you got to find balance. Now you tell them the same thing. I don't like the way you're doing this. This reminds me of something I've been through. And this is when you got to kill the ego. This is what I'm talking about, when you kill the ego. When you have a new relationship that comes in and you have to explain to this person, okay, I went through this in the past. And the way you treated me reminded me of that. And that's something that I acknowledge I have to heal within myself. And I'm working on that. But to help me work on that and help me get to that healing, I need you to not do this anymore, because you're triggering something in me. And you have to be able to communicate with this person that you're dealing with, whether it's a friend, a family member, anything. Now you're communicating with them. Are they going to listen, or are they going to hurt you too? You got to give them the chance. But the boundaries come in, and this is the difference between ego and boundary. The boundaries have to come into play when they don't respect your energy. They don't respect your feelings. That's when you pull them out, and that's when they're toxic. When they do it to hurt you on purpose, and it's a cycle. You got to keep going through this cycle with people, and you got to figure out who's for you and who's against you. The people who want you to shine and glow up are the people that are for you. They support you. The people who look down on you and are constantly niggling at you like, oh, you shouldn't act like that. You shouldn't be like that. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. No, 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 no. They're not for you. People will ask me my opinion, and I really don't have opinions to give. Like, I can give you my opinion, but you're not going to agree with my opinion, because that's my ego. That's my fear standing in the way. And I've had this happen just this week, last week. And I told this specific person, stop letting people read you. Don't let just anybody in your energy, because we're going to reflect our pain onto you. And any reading that can happen. Like, I know how to detach myself from a reading, but if I care about a person, I get messages and I try to remove my energy. But if I really do care, I will give you a reading that's got my energy in there. And then I'll tell you, like, look, this is my outlook on it. Don't take my outlook. You have to find the answers within yourself. What is your inner self telling you to do? What do you want to do? You already have the answers. You don't need the validation from me. You just need to have the faith within yourself to know that this is what you should do. And this is how I deal with people. Get mad, whatever. I don't care. You're asking my opinion or you're asking my validation. I don't know what you're asking from me, but I'm going to give you my opinion, honestly, what I think. You could take with it what you will and turn it into whatever you want. It's up to you. But all I'm telling you is, if you're going to ask me my opinion, I'm going to give you my honest opinion. based on a little bit of information I have and go from there. But anyway, that's just a whole nother day. So our card for the day is relationship. Your primary relationship is with yourself and God. And every other relationship follows from there. To attract, heal, or balance a relationship, then snuggle more closely with your loving Creator. As you feel safe and loved within, so shall your other relationships bloom and prosper. See, this is the whole point of why we have to go through the dark night of the soul, to have that spiritual awakening and that union with God. When we allow God into our life, He gives us the answers, but you have to have that faith in God. This is the most important thing I'm going to speak on repeat. God is unconditional love. He's not a relation. He's not a religion. He's a relationship. These are His words that He told me. The answers are within you. You have to trust them. You have to trust what you hear. You have to kill the ego, build that relationship with God, and then trust that He's going to give you the answers. You do not need validation from other people. Other people are hurt. Other people are not on the same journey as you. Other people don't know you or what you've been through. They can be similar to you, but they're not you. They don't know your pain. None of that. And this completely contradicts me doing readings, but if I can help people through these channels, you won't need me. You'll be able to learn how to do this for yourself. All right, let's get one more. What else do we need to see? Play. This is important too. Beloved one, it is time to set aside work for a while. Don't worry, we will oversee your responsibilities to their completion. Playfulness, gaiety, and laughter will lift your energy so that you'll return to work with a renewed perspective and heightened energy. Listen, play, relationships, build your relationship with God, and keep your childlike innocence. Because when you stay in that childlike innocence, think about children. This is why this card came out. And I always wanted to speak on this. I was thinking about it on my way home before I did the channel. When you keep that childlike innocence, you don't have ego as a child. You don't have an ego. All you have is unconditional love. Like my little nephew came to see me yesterday. The baby is hugging all over me, kissing all over my face. And I'm thinking, God, I miss being like that. I miss just trusting everybody and not being broken to the point where I can't trust nobody. Not having this ego that stands in my way. Just being innocent and pure like a child. Like a child is so innocent. They're so pure. They can just uplift the room when they walk in. And God wants us to stay like that. Like this is His main message. Remember His love, His purity, His unconditioned. Before you was conditioned to have fear. Before you was conditioned to build this ego. Before you became that, remember what God made you to be. The child who played in the dirt and was peaceful. That, the one that didn't have fear. Like children learn fear. That's something we teach them. That's something we condition them. That's something the world and your body teaches you. But you got to stay and have fun and keep that relationship with God. And when you get your relationship right with God, all your other relationships are going to follow. They're going to flow together. And it's important to learn the difference between ego and fear versus toxic. I don't think anybody, honestly, that word toxic just needs to be removed. I honestly don't think that anybody in this world is toxic. I just think people need love, unconditional love. And they've never been showed it. So they've built this ego up to protect themselves because they don't know love. They've never been showed love. So why cut them off? And that's a part of the reason why I stayed where I was at for 17 years, going back and forth with this person, because I actually did have love for him. I still do. I always will. He was like there was a time in life when he was the only person I had for me. And I knew he never got showed that love. So I was giving him the love that my mom showed me, that unconditional love. And he deserved it. Everybody deserves love. And nobody's toxic, just we're all at different levels. And this is the thing. It is toxic if they don't want to fix themselves and they want to keep hurting you. That's where toxic comes in. And I understand toxic to that point. But to just point at somebody because they've done something wrong and they've acted human and they've made a mistake and say, you're toxic. That's fucked up to me. Like, I wouldn't want nobody to do that to me because I'm human. I make mistakes all the fucking time. I fuck shit up all the time. My mom used to tell me on a regular, don't touch that. You just fuck it up. You fuck up everything you touch. Like, my mom fucking constantly was honest with me. Like, don't, because I was too honest. And she couldn't stand that I wouldn't lie for her and cover her bullshit. I'm like, I don't fuck up shit, Mom. You just like to lie, and I don't fucking cover your lies. Shut up, Melanie. And that's what she would say. But we had that relationship. It was okay. It wasn't abusive. It was just my mom being an asshole. And I would call her out on her assholeness, and she couldn't stand that. That I'd make her be good, and I wouldn't let her do fucking deviated shit. Anyway, I have rambled and rambled and rambled. Your message from God today is to get to know him. And when you do, and you take the time to pray and talk to him and build a relationship with him, you're going to see things in your life change for the better. You're going to see that ego start to die. You're going to see that there is trust in people. There is faith in people. But you got to have your faith in him first. If you don't have a relationship with him, you ain't going to have a relationship with nobody that's successful. He is not a religion. There is no right way to God. There is no wrong way to God. As long as you have a relationship where you talk to him and you hear him, you're on the right track. And he's going to show you the rest. You don't have to seek these answers from nobody except him. Call me wrong. I don't care. I just know my life is getting better. And everybody's can. Just do that one thing. And watch how powerful you become. Watch him shine through you a light that is going to draw and attract so many people to you that you're not going to be able to keep up with them. I'm just saying. I know firsthand. I've been there, done that. All right. That's it. That's all I want to speak on for the ego. I love you guys, and I will talk to you soon. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Help me get this word out to whoever needs it. I'm really not worried about it because when people need it, they'll find it. They'll find me.